Well, today is a day that we have the opportunity in our human experience to get real about life. Every day is an opportunity to get real about our human experience of life. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, said this about life. Whoops. Wow, it just went right on. Life is the energy that propels all forms into action. So think about that for just a moment. Life is the energy that propels all forms into action. So what we're really not saying is life happens. Because life doesn't just happen. Life is the energy. Life is the motivation. Life is the urge that opens our yearning to lead us or push us forward. I like to think of that energy of life as the wind that pushes the sail of the boat. It's going to push the sail of the boat whether or not we tell that boat where to go. We are the captain of the boat. We are the captain of the boat. We are the captain of the boat. We're the captain of our lives, and we're the ones who choose the direction that we go in. And I'm just recognizing that I didn't correct the slide, so the slide is still wrong. Life into itself is not intelligent. Okay, so no matter what that says, life into itself is not intelligent. It requires the directive power of an entity that knows where and how to apply its force in order to get the best results. So life is energy that propels us into engaging in all kinds of forms in our lives. I'm going to invite you to just put that on the edge of your conscious mind for a moment as you sit back and listen to the parable of the beautiful river. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful river. She began as a joyful flow, a joyful stream, and as a spring, she danced and sang her way down the side of a mountain. And pretty soon, she became a river that wound between hills and through forests and meadows. It was in this winding that she recognized the deep yearning of her soul to return to the ocean. She recognized that yearning in her soul. She recognized the call of the ocean, and she spent all of her days flowing over rocks and around rocks and through the deep, joyfully on her way to the sea. And then one day, she noticed clouds. Clouds came in shapes and sizes and colors, and they were so beautiful. And she became obsessed with the clouds. She became mesmerized by clouds, and she decided she needed to possess one. So she chased clouds this way, and she chased clouds that way. But the impermanence of the cloud gave her no joy and no satisfaction. And eventually, she forgot her joy and she forgot her peace because everything in her was on the quest to possess a cloud. One afternoon, the wind blew and there were no more clouds in the sky. She was bereft. She felt like her life was over and she wanted to die. But how can a river that flows over the hills and through the forest and into meadows cease to be? And she began to cry. She had forgotten what she looked like. She had forgotten her joy. She had forgotten her peace. And her cry began with a simple tear or two. And then from the depths of her soul, the wrenching of her sobs pushed her water up against the banks of the river. It was that noise of her water against the banks of the river in which she began to notice the whisper of her heart. The heart in her reminded her that that which she was seeking and that which she wanted was already there. Her heart said to her, "You are water, and clouds are water. Clouds are born of the water, and clouds return to the water. In oneness, you are the cloud. That which you seek is already inside." And she remembered her joy, and she remembered her peace. The next morning, the sun rose, and the river opened her eyes, and there was the sky. The sky had always been there. The sky was the home to the clouds, but she had never seen the beauty of that big blue sky, the vastness of the universe. And as she recognized the immensity of the sky, she also resonated with her own immensity. And she realized that that would always be a part of her, and it had never gone away. That afternoon, the wind came up and some clouds blew in. The river greeted each cloud with loving kindness, and when it decided to move on, she waved happily at it. No attachment, no desire, perfect flow. And when the evening came, she once again opened her eyes toward the sky, and there in the sky she received another wondrous gift, and that was the full moon. The full moon was there, round and perfect, but the full moon was also in her and on her like a jewel. Her surrender, her wide open surrender, had led the river to remember her deep yearning for the sea. So the river took the hand of the cloud and the hand of the moon, and together, slowly, slowly, they journeyed to the ocean. When I first read that parable, all I could think of was peace like a river. The African-American spiritual, I got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Do you know the second verse? I got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. And there's the third verse. I've got love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. We can probably go out right now appreciating the parable of the river, appreciating the experience that the beautiful river had in rediscovering her oneness with all of life, in rediscovering her immensity, in rediscovering that the gifts out there were also the gifts in here. But that would not be intellectual enough. So I just have to make 2 points. And the first one is that purity, beauty, and innocence come to us from birth. Unity principle number 2 is we are born in original virtue. That's the short version. The long version is we are spiritual beings created in the image and likeness of God. God is good, and therefore we are good. As we tune into that spiritual nature, we propel our life in a whole different kind of way. A kind of way that's filled with joy and peace and love. Peace like a river. No, I'm not going to do it yet. But we are propelled that way. But most of us, even though we are born this way, forget. Almost all of us, in fact, everybody I've ever met has a case of spiritual amnesia that gets progressively stronger, but it's not incurable. So yeah, we can, maybe when we're really little, remember that we are beloved expressions of God, but we can also remember when we're grown-ups. We can. There's a story about a couple who have a 4-year-old and a newborn, and the 4-year-old keeps going into the baby's room, and the parents keep shooing that 4-year-old out, and finally one night over the baby monitor, the parents hear a little voice saying, "Please tell me about God. I'm beginning to forget." You may have heard that before, but it's like that's what happens. We forget. We forget that we were born in original virtue, or maybe we came from a paradigm where we were born in original sin. I don't know. But what I know is when I hold a newborn, I not only see my divinity, I feel my divinity. And I invite you to surrender in whatever wide open way you surrender so that you remember and feel your divinity. And the second lesson is, let's get real. We do chase after clouds. We do. I know I'm not the only one who chases after clouds. Something or someone that's unavailable. I go, cloud, cloud. And then I go, cloud. And then I go, cloud. But it's just what we do. This is the human part of us to chase after clouds. We get attached to something outside of ourselves that's unavailable. How many people have wanted to speak a foreign language but then never took a lesson? How many times do we say we want to be dancing like the stars but we never take a dance class? How many times do we fall in love only to discover that the person is married or that the person lives in another state? Yeah, see, I got a titter. I know this is true. Or they're really unavailable because we're gay and they're straight, or we're straight and they're gay. I mean, it's just like these things happen all the time. We seem to create for ourselves these little sticks that hang the carrot, and then we're the mule, and we're very stubborn, and we walk around going, I'm going to get it someday. In the Buddhist tradition, we learn that all suffering is because we desire. So if we had no more desires, we would have no more suffering. You've heard that, right? Well, I'm wondering, truly, if it's the desires that we place outside of ourselves that causes the sufferings. Those items, those people, those experiences that we're so attached to out here that causes the suffering. It's the recognition that we are divine, that we are one with everything, that it's truly our yearning that is holy. It's our yearning and living from that energy propelling us forward that brings us to a state or a remembrance of joy, of love, and peace. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, says, you do not have to beseech life to be good or to bring good in your life. Life is like the sun. It shines on everything. Get out of the shadows. Crawl out of your basement. Open the windows of your mind. Open the doors of your soul. And that's what we're all about when we get real about living. It's about making the choice, taking the opportunity to open yourself, to surrender yourself, to come home to God, to come home to yourself, whether it's from water lapping on the banks in an expression of grief, or it is joy, that glint of the sunlight on the water reminding you of your precious brilliance. Let's take this all into meditation now. Let's open our minds, our hearts, our souls for just 5 minutes. We can go back to our lives after this, but 5 minutes, our lives will not be the same.